Alrighty, we'll get started. So hello everyone, welcome to the current student perspective panel. We have, I guess, 4 lovely panelists, and then I'll kind of jump in sometimes too, who are going to be speaking to you today. So we're also running this on Teams virtually for people who weren't able to attend in person. So if people ask questions in the audience, I'm just going to repeat the questions so people on Teams can hear them. Everyone who's joining us through Teams, feel free to type questions in the chat. I will be monitoring it throughout the session. And then if there's a question that pops up there, I'll kind of read it to the group, and then everyone else will answer. Just does someone in Teams just want to quickly let me know if they can hear me, because I know there were slight issues with the microphone in the earlier session. Just like a thumbs up or type yes, just something if they're able to. I see thumbs up. Okay, we're good. So yeah, we'll get started. My name is Alex. I'm a 4th year student here at Mount A. I'm doing a Bachelor of Science, majoring in psychology and minoring in biology. I'm also involved with a couple other things on campus, but you'll get to know more about that kind of as the session goes on. Yeah.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Corey Ash. I am a 4th year student in the Bachelor of Science program, major in aviation, minor in economics, and I'm from Antigua and Barbuda, in the Caribbean. Yeah, and you'll get to know a little more about me as we go through the session.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Astrid, and I'm in my 4th year. So just in the home stretch, really, which is just kind of exciting and scary. But my major is international relations. I'm doing a course-based honors, and then I have minors in politics, philosophy, and history. And I'm from Edmonton, Alberta. So.
My name's Haley. I'm in my 3rd year doing a BA with a major in PPE, a minor in French, and I'm from Bathurst, New Brunswick.
Hi, my name is Rene. I'm from Kenya. I'm a 2nd year honors student in economics. So yeah, you'll learn more about me as the session goes on.
Also, I'm from BC. I forgot to mention that. Okay, so we'll get started. So why did you choose Mount A?
You want me to start? Okay. Yeah. So I guess coming to Mount Allison, the biggest thing is, millions of miles away, not just from BC or Bathurst, New Brunswick, but just like the small classroom sizes was like the biggest, like, I guess, selling point in that sense. A little tiny town tucked away in New Brunswick, you got a chance to like meet your new professors and just get a chance to like see, have that 1st year university experience that you can never have somewhere else, and just get to make friends that have like living in residence. Eating the meal plan. I know all you guys went to Jennings today, so just being in that small community and like not getting so overwhelmed was a really good thing for me. And just like getting a chance to see university like in baby steps, but also just getting a chance to like, meet cool people. So yeah, that's the reason why I picked Mount Allison.
Yeah, I think the community was really what brought me here. I came here and did my tour as well. I just really, really liked the campus. I found it was easy to fit in right away. I noticed like my campus ambassadors, we were walking around, was waving to people. You kind of know everyone as you get going here. Small class sizes as well. I come from a small town, so it kind of appealed to me. I was super involved in my high school and my community, and I just seen a similar experience here for me, but at a university capacity. So yeah.
Yeah, so unlike Haley, I didn't have a chance to do a tour of Mount A before I came. I'd actually never even been to like Eastern Canada before I like arrived for move-in day, which is always my like go-to fun fact whenever I have to do that. But my vice principal of my high school was actually a Mount A alum, and I really randomly stumbled across like a bunch of other Mount A alumni, like in Alberta, like in Edmonton, which is kind of an anomaly. But they were all so like emphatic about the university and recommended it like so wholeheartedly. And we don't really have like smaller liberal arts universities out west. So that idea really appealed to me. And then I also kind of thought like I was involved in a lot of like kind of extracurriculars and stuff in high school. And when I was thinking about transitioning to university, I kind of accepted that I would probably have to pick like a thing. Like I would probably have to be like, okay, if I'm going to be a poli-sci student, then the club that I'm going to be in is like Get Out the Vote or like the Poli-Sci Society or whatever. But at Mount A, like that is not the case at all. Like you have, and we'll get into this later, but I've been able to stay involved in so many things that I'm interested in and passionate about that have nothing to do with my degree. And so that was really exciting to me.
Yeah, I picked Mount A because one, I came from a country was pretty small. As I said in the last session, my high school, we started out with 60 people and I graduated with about 37 students. So I've always been accustomed to small class sizes. College, it was almost the same in terms of the class sizes. So I was looking for a university that had that similar small class size that I was able to make a connection with the professors. And Mount A really fit that description. I also enjoyed talking to the admissions counselors. Like they're probably one of the most friendliest like group of individuals I've ever seen before. Like just from how they'd be like, "Hi Corey, please send blah blah blah." And when I got my admissions letter, they wrote a cute little note in it's like a magenta color. It was really nice. It's like a personal touch that I like. And it was from the admissions process to me getting here for orientation to me fitting into university my first year. Just makes Mount A really unique.
Yeah, I was kind of saying this earlier. I was actually dead set on not coming to Mount A. I knew that I wanted to come to an East Coast school because, like Astrid said, in the West Coast, we don't really have like smaller liberal arts schools like this. And I knew I wanted to be kind of like, it's that cliche, but I wanted to be a name and not a number. And so I was looking at smaller schools, and I told everyone I was going to this one particular school. Then I came and did a tour, and about 5 minutes into the tour, I turned to my mom and I was like, oh, I really didn't want to like it here because I was so set on going somewhere else. And I just like, it felt like home. Like I just fell in love with the campus and the community and could not picture myself going anywhere else. And I didn't have that experience at any other campus that I visited. And I visited quite a few when I came out and did a tour because I was like, okay, I'm on the East Coast. I have to take advantage of this. And yeah, now I'm graduating in about a month and a half and seriously consider doing a 5th year just because I'm not ready to leave. I don't want to. So yeah, and I've heard a lot of, or I've had a lot of other friends who told me they had that same experience. They just got to the Mount A campus and it just like, it felt like home, the community, and the sense of belonging and family that I think we have on campus. And I'm pretty sure like everyone here could speak to is something that I have yet to find at another university. And I visited quite a few. Okay. What is your favorite part of Mount Allison? We'll start with Corey this time.
I think it's definitely the people. It's just like everyone here is like a member of a family. It's like one big family. Everyone here looks out for you, whether it's your friends, the professors, the support staff. I'd say for such a small university, we have a lot of resources available, whether it's academic support, mental support. If you just need to, go in someone's room and just cry or something to relieve stress, you can do that here at Mount A. And well, before coming to Mount Allison, like in Antigua, we're not really exposed to like mental health resources and sharing emotions. So that was something I really liked when I came here to Mount A. It's just all the supports that are available. As I said, it's like one big family. It's like your home away from home. You might not have your parents there, but like the people here, they just like act like your parents and you just feel loved, you just feel loved.
That's very sweet. Yeah, I think like I know Alex just mentioned this and you've probably heard it like before today, but like the you're a name and not a number, like you're like a person, not a number. I don't want to like beat that horse too much, but it really is like one of my favorite things about Mount A is that it's a community and I love like walking around campus and running into, a number of people that I know, even if it's like just to say hi. And I love the fact that like profs that I had in my first year, like I have a first year French prof who every time I see them, like we still say hi. And it's really intimidating too, because like I don't practice my French that much. And sometimes like we really get into a conversation, but No, I think it's the sense of community, and it's also the fact that now, like at the end of my degree, this is a small school, and so you have all the benefits of a small school. But in my opinion, you don't really lose out on the benefits of a bigger school, like the opportunities and like experiential learning and opportunities to do research and stuff like that. Like if anything, that's heightened at Mount A. And now when I'm thinking about going on and doing other things, I have these connections and these relationships, both with other students who are doing really interesting and exciting work, but also profs who, can write a reference letter and actually, know me and know what I've done and I have a relationship with. So that's something I love about Mount A.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely I don't want to repeat my anyone here, but I definitely have to say the people as well. It's just super super easy to be ingrained in the community here, to know everyone and have everyone know you. Like you said, when you're walking around and people recognize you, it's just a nice feeling. Like even the staff too. Like I don't know if any of you guys know Pam at the library at the Flying Bean. She's a gem. She works at the cafe, but that's just one example. Like the lady at the cafe literally makes my day. Like I come in and she's like, I got your oat cake. It's on me today. And I literally, that happened the other day and I was just walking. I was like, I just love it here. I find I have that moment a lot. And yeah, so I definitely think it's the community, the environment, the people that really make a place. And you have that here.
I'd say something. I'm gonna cheat a tiny bit, Alex, if you don't mind. Two things that I actually really like about Mount Allison in the sense that like it is a small town, so everything is really close to you. So proximity. So probably like driving and you probably see like the McDonald's and everything else. Also just like downtown is just 3 minutes away. You want to go to the Independent, you need to go RBC or something. That's everything is like so close to you, so you can never like miss out on what like a big town has to offer in the sense that everything is so close to you. Moreover, in terms of like community, what my colleagues have said, staying in residence for 2 years, there's dons, so these are like your moms of the house, so they take care of you, make sure everything's all right, and just like just get a chance to build that culture of like living away from home for a bit. Could be a bit scary, but they make sure that you're all integrated into community that feels love. So if you're in Windsor, Edwards, Thornton, whichever residence you are, you get a chance to meet your neighbors and actually get to know people around you that are gonna be your friends for life and get to make those connections. So that's something that I like. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
I'm going to add a little bit to what Astrid was saying and just talking about the opportunities you have here on campus. Again, I say this so much, but I just love it. So I'm an athletic trainer for the school's football team. I love using that as an example of ways to get involved because like we don't have a kinesiology program here at Mount Allison. And so I want to go and do physiotherapy. That's my future goal. And so when I first was coming here, I was like, okay, well, what can I do to kind of get involved in that sort of area of study or that field without having a specific program or specific courses for that. And with athletic training, I am hands-on on the field, on the sidelines, like doing all of that with the football team. You can work with all of our other varsity sports teams as well. And it's been like the best experience because I've gotten to know so many different people through it. And now when I'm applying to physiotherapy, I have so much information. I've learned so much despite not having like, say, a specific kinesiology program here. Like we'll go play other teams and they're all wearing their like whatever kinesiology stuff and we're just like woo. Like I know someone who's a physics major who's doing it, but we love it, and it's you have the opportunity to do it regardless of what program you're in, which I find is the case for a lot of the opportunities here. You don't need to be in a specific program or in a specific department to take advantage of the opportunities that department offers, which again is really unique. We're such a small school that there's so many opportunities that go unnoticed or go unapplied for because students don't necessarily know about them, or they're like, I don't want to apply for that because so many other people are going to apply, and then no one applies. And it's like, well, there's an internship that you could have had, right? So I think that's kind of what I love. What I love about Monday is we have, I would say, argue more opportunities than larger universities in some cases. And yeah, definitely something to take advantage of while you're here. So I have a whole list of questions that I could continue to ask, but do any of you have any questions? Or if anyone on Teams has any questions, feel free to type them in the chat and keep going. Like in the chat, you can just type them whenever. Does anyone have any questions? It can be about something we've kind of spoken about earlier, or just anything in general. If there's something you want to know about being a student here, about being a student living in Sackville. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we love Sackville. I was in line the other day and the woman in front of me had forgotten her Optimum card and she turned to me and was like, "Well, do you want my points?" and let me scan my Optimum card. So I got all her points. And I was like, "Yes." But it's things like that that like you don't get anywhere else. Definitely not in BC. That would not happen. Okay, there's just a question here. So how can students at Mount Allison compete with the students that study abroad? What are the career options in the fields of science? Like what are the research opportunities? So there's a couple different questions there. I would say, I mean, I can just speak to this as a fourth year student who's looked at lots of grad schools and looked at all grad school applications. I haven't had a problem with any of my courses kind of not being, I guess, accepted. And the nice thing about Mount A too is we are part of the Maple League. So there's certain courses within Atlantic Canada and then Bishop's University as well, that if there's a course that is not offered at Mount A, but that you want to take, you can take it through the Maple League, and kind of getting those transfer credits and taking a course there is very, very easy. So I actually did that with an anatomy course just because I needed to get it a little bit before I took it over the summer rather than taking it in the winter here, and it was super easy. So that's kind of that in terms of, I guess, I don't want to say compete with the other schools, but all of the requirements that you need for grad schools, you're going to get here. Like that's never, that's not an issue. I don't know, Astrid, maybe like you in terms of like being a fourth year student, do you have anything to add to that?
I would just say, yeah, I know there was kind of a couple questions in there, but yeah, in terms. Okay, yeah. So yeah, for competing for grad schools, I would just say that, I mean, also Mount Allison is it's a recognized university. So like if you do want to apply for grad school in another country, you won't have an issue with that. And in fact, like, I mean, you shouldn't choose a university just based on reputation, but Mount Allison has a very good reputation. So that's not an issue. Also, if I don't know if this is what the question was asking, but there are also opportunities to travel and study abroad while you're at Mount A. So we have exchange opportunities where you can go to another university for a semester, and I think we have 30 plus different partnerships. I have a friend right now who's studying in Newcastle, Australia. I have friends who went to the Netherlands, who went to Ecuador, like all over the world. And what's really great about that is that you still pay Mount A tuition, and then so you're not paying international tuition, but then you just pay your fees that you would to travel and then to live there. So it's just a fantastic experience to get to have an international experience while you're at Mount A, and still have that count for your Mount A credits. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, just to answer to that, I mean, coming from international waters, I'd say the biggest thing in terms of like Mount Allison is like a competitive university in the sense that being part of the Maple League as well, like all the courses that you do take are competitive and up to, I guess, sort of like the standard of like, what other Canadian universities sort of offer. Whether you're taking economics or, I mean, PPE, all the professors are always, happy to assist, and they always are up to like, I guess it's sort of like, competitive level that, all universities strive for. And also just to add on to that, like professors are always, helpful in the sense that, hey, you want to organize office hours. They actually know your name. So it's like, hey, like have like office hours anytime soon. So it's pretty cool in that sense. And I'd say like that's the unique thing about Mount Allison as well. So yeah.
I will just add that Mount Allison has been ranked #1 undergraduate university by Maclean's magazine for 22 years now. So it has a very good reputation, and you don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah, snaps for Mount A. And then, so this one's just talking about like research opportunities. So that's actually a really good segue into kind of another topic, which are like, what are the research opportunities? And I'll kind of going to add in like teaching assistant and just kind of sort of classroom opportunities that we have on campus. So yeah, I mean, I can just like, I'll really quickly start. There's ways to get involved in research doing both your honors in sciences as well as doing independent studies. So like I know people who've taken an independent study. It doesn't mean you're doing your honors. Typically, it's just a semester-long research project, but it can last for a year, depending on the professor you're working with. Each of the professors, I'm a science student, so I can speak to kind of science the best, but within the science department, each professor has their I guess like field of study where they're working. So for example, we have a really famous tick lab on campus. The bird lab is also another one that's well known across Canada. And so students will work with those professors directly, continuing their research, and they can have, for independent studies, you typically kind of further some of the research that the prof is working on. And then for honors, you get to work on your own kind of thing with other potential or with other students and the professor. So there are tons of research opportunities there. And then we can also, if anyone wants to kind of continue with research opportunities or just talk about opportunities as like TAs or all that stuff.
Yeah. My favorite topic, arts research. As a Bachelor of Arts student, and so I had the opportunity to do an independent student research grant over the summer. And I just want to stress that like research opportunities for undergrads when you get to design your own research program, whether it's in sciences for your honors and conducting your own experiments, like having that independent experience is very, very unique and something that you do really only find at small universities, and also especially in arts research because it's something that sometimes goes overlooked. But I had a really fantastic opportunity this past summer to work with the philosophy and the psychology department on a project basically about improving educational resources for sex education in New Brunswick. And that was, a project that I was able to do and to commit to full time over the summer because of funding from the university and from, the experiential learning and the research offices. That is really unique. And also just the ability to work as a TA, like those are often these like independent research opportunities, research assistant opportunities, and teaching assistant opportunities are really often reserved for like graduate classmen and for people doing their honors or for people doing their masters at bigger universities. But we get those opportunities as undergrads at Mount A, and that's really, really valuable.
So I guess being on campus as well. So as I did mention, when you stay on residence, you get a chance to have resident dons. So also you get resident assistants as well. So these are like your colleagues get a chance to, I'd say, sort of like organize orientation. Always have like an eyes and ears as well on students. So I'm actually the AD of Edwards, and it's pretty cool in the sense that like I like to drop that in the conversations. You get a chance just to be, I guess, like work for the university as well as a chance to just experience life on campus. And organize orientation, organize events, organize house parties, and just get a chance to build that sense of community again that we've all said today. And I feel like those little tiny opportunities to work as well as just get a chance to experience things that maybe a bigger university you might not get those chances are really valuable. So yeah, that's my part about being an RA.
That will kind of segue us into our next little bit too, which was talking about like just work opportunities on campus. So Renee kind of touched on opportunities within residence. Does anyone else want to like maybe just kind of share some of the things that you're involved in when it comes to working on campus?
Yeah, so you can be like all of us and be campus ambassadors. I think it's the best job on campus. You get to meet new students, answer any questions they have, quell parents' fears about leaving their students behind for 4 years. But it's a really great job, and most jobs here at Mount A pay above minimum wage. So you get to make a nice little pocket change if you wanted to save up to buy a new iPhone or or you wanted to do something else. I was also a teacher's assistant in physics for last semester. So there are a lot of teacher's assistant positions that you can apply for. And usually, if you do the course in the fall semester, you can apply. If it's being offered again in the winter semester of your first year, you can apply to be a teacher's assistant. As Renee said, you could be an RA, you could be a assistant don. You could work at the event services, in the library. There's a bunch of jobs available, and they're all listed on our website if you wanted to look at it in further detail.
Yeah, I would just to add to that, I have a couple different jobs on campus. So I'm an ambassador. I'm a teaching assistant for the philosophy department. I tutor. In the past, I've worked for the Faculty of Arts social media. And then I also work for the newspaper, the campus newspaper, the Argosy. If you've seen a copy around, make sure to pick one up. It's the second oldest and longest running student newspaper in North America. So plug. But again, that kind of speaks to the fact that like I'm not an English student, I'm not in journalism, but I still get to pursue something I'm really passionate about and I really, really love, and also get paid for it, which is so fun and helpful. And then I've also used Mount A to work not on campus, but to get opportunities to work outside of campus through experiential learning. So I was able to work in town at the brewery, Bagtown Brewing Company, shout out, started by a Mount Allison student. But so even if you're not working on campus, our offices can help to connect you with other work experiences in the area.
Yeah, obviously I'm a campus ambassador too. And then I also do note taking too, which is really interesting. So at the beginning of your courses, usually an email sent out, especially in first year courses that are a little bit bigger, looking for a note taker. And I'd really recommend taking the position. Basically, you just get paid for taking your notes, which is what you're supposed to do anyway, and submitting them. So yeah, that's a really neat opportunity. And another thing too, what's really nice is about being employed by the university is that they understand you're a student first. So most of the schedules are quite flexible. Like even just being here, a lot of it you kind of pick the shifts up as you go. Yeah, and there's a lot of availability too. Like even just getting to sit here, I feel like maybe this is just a little bit of my imposter syndrome coming out, but I feel like I'm just a normal student, you know? I feel like I'm just a normal student. I'm probably just like some of you guys in the room here. I'm a little bit quiet, a little bit shy, but I'm up here holding a mic and talking to you guys. So, and I just feel like because of the environment and the community and the opportunities here, I'm able to do that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much, I guess. I want to talk about more opportunities to work on campus as the CHMA. So that's the oldest radio station as well, I think, in Atlantic Canada. Don't quote me on that, but it's also just a chance where you can get into those chances, do journalism, even if it's like not geared to what you're doing in terms of like your degree. You could be a arts major, a fine arts major, economics, etc. But getting a chance again to just do various things on campus, just again puts Mount Allison just in a great position where students can learn. And like I never knew what LinkedIn was before first year. I never knew how to write a cover letter. So these are like good things that this university sort of teaches you to go about. So you can be ready for when you're in your fourth year and you're looking to move on and apply for jobs. It's your place to be. So.
I'm just gonna add. So I work in a lot of the things that were already mentioned, like campus ambassador. I'm a TA. I'm a tutor. I've been a note taker. But I also had the opportunity to be orientation chair this past summer. And so that was like, I love this job, but that was the best job I've ever had. And it was definitely an experience I would not have been able to have without Mount A. Yeah, like I got to be the first person and to greet all first year students, which was like the best experience of my life and so special and things. And I think it's like little experiences like that you wouldn't get at other, or I guess, yeah, little things that are part of that experience that you wouldn't get at other universities. And even within just the orientation, they're not paid positions, but there's so many volunteers. Like we had 130 orientation committee and crew volunteers that were all there to cheer on and welcome in new students and things like that. So if you're coming for your welcome day in September, be prepared for everyone in Titan Bright. But yeah, there's so many opportunities both on campus as well as off campus within Mount Allison and Sackville. And I think someone was saying earlier, like Katai mentioned, like Mount Allison is Sackville's biggest employer, and it's really true. Like over 50% of our students are employed, and it's there's like just we could talk for hours about the experiences and opportunities. So are there any questions? No? Okay. Like I said, I have some, but feel free to just like put your hand up or okay. So everyone in high school always talks about how different university is going to be from high school. So is this really the case? Like, can I really expect a huge change? And if yes, why? And if no, why not?
Anybody?
So it's a bit of a loaded question, but so I guess the biggest thing in terms of like high school to university is you are sort of more like you're working on your own time, and you have to be more responsible. So I guess responsibility is one of the biggest things. Like sort of like setting your own time schedule. Your parents aren't going to tell you, hey, go for this class, etc. You are in charge, like carrying your own cross, as I like to say. And I like to say in the sense that like you do have to be organized in the sense that like you have to set time for studying, for friends, and everything else, and in terms of extracurriculars as well. So in terms of being part of the sports teams, intramurals, etc., or even getting a chance to be part of the high school musical production that was this semester. Just getting a chance to organize yourself in university is one of the biggest things, and I guess that's the biggest sort of change in terms of high school to university. You might not have time to do all the fun and games, but when things sort of like hit the fan, you get a chance to um, put your back towards the wall and study and put your hours in, and that's the cool thing about university. So yeah. Not to like be so scary.
Yeah, it's definitely different, but I think Mount A does a really good job at bridging that gap. You're not just pushed into this world of like research papers and midterms and exams, and like I came here, I was like, what is a midterm? But yeah, they do a really good job at preparing you for that. So a lot of first year classes, like before you write a research paper, the prof will bring in someone from the library, show you how the research works here, how you find peer-reviewed journals. There's also resources right at the library, like the research help desk. If you want more of like a one-on-one session, you can say, this is my topic, and they'll sit down, find a bunch of sources for you. There is the academic help hub. So there's the writing resource center, which is really, really helpful. You can bring in your written papers and someone can look over it for like grammar or structure or whatever you need help with. There's also a lot of study sessions too for a lot of first year courses, like econ, psych, all the sciences and math. So, and then there's also like independent tutors too. So yeah, there's a lot of help. It's just a matter of recognizing when you need to ask for help and not being scared to ask.
Yeah, I think you guys covered kind of everything that I was thinking, because it really is like the question of like, is it different? Yes or no, and why? It's like it is different, but it's not that bad. Like it's not a bad different. So I think one piece of advice that I got in like orientation week in my first year was treat university, like treat school like it's your 9 to 5. And to me, it was kind of like a shift in thinking about it. Like when I came to university, I was kind of like, okay, like this is my job now. Like this is what I'm focused on. Because of what I want to achieve, like I'm going to put, this amount of effort into it. And I think I maybe didn't have that same level of commitment in high school. But it's also like you said, Haley, like what Mount A does to bridge the gap is really above and beyond, I think, a lot of other universities, especially like, I mean, like all like the resources, like the writing resource center and the research center, especially because in university you're tasked kind of with coming up with your own research and assignments and questions. But there's just so much help, and I think, yeah, just one other thing is also like at bigger universities, in your first year class, you're walking into a class of 600 people. At Mount A, like the biggest class you would have in first year is like generally like 150 people at the very, very most. I still had classes in first year that were 20 people, and they were in a classroom that looked exactly like classrooms I had in high school. So it really that really helps to kind of ease the transition. And also like even the 100-person classes, they're kind of fun because I was like, oh, it's a lecture hall, it's like the movies, like I'm in university now. Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is going to answer the question, but I feel like at university and especially at Mount A, you get to experiment with your degree. Because like in first year, you're exposed to distribution credits. And those are basically like credits you do outside of your major. So you do humanities, you do arts, you do social sciences and sciences. And to me, that was probably one of the best things that Mount A offers. Because I didn't change my degree, but I could have come and saying like, hey, I want to do aviation. And then maybe I took visual material culture studies. And then I'm like, hey, I really like VMCS. I don't want to be a pilot anymore. And then I would switch my degree to VMCS. But it was through the distribution credits where a lot of people realized that they initially thought they wanted to come to do aviation. And then they went into a history course and they realized, I really love history. Let me switch to history. So Mount Allison provides that flexibility in your degree that I really liked. And that's not really something I could do in high school. I'm not sure how it works for Canadian high schools, but yeah, that's not something I could have done in high school, which is what I really like.
I think we had a question in the previous section that was just like, what does a typical so I know in a couple other sessions they mentioned that like 5 courses is like kind of typical course load. And they just wanted to know what that looked like on a Monday to Friday basis. And so I can kind of talk about it a little bit. I'm in my 4th year and like I said, I'm a science student, so I'm definitely on the science perspective. But my course load looks a lot like it did in first year, just because I'm in 5 courses and 2 labs. And in first year, that was kind of typical. Maybe I had an extra lab in there. But I have 8:30s every day, which is just the way my schedule worked out. It's not always been like that. But I have 8:30s Monday to Friday. And then on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have a break from 9:30 to 10:30, and then I have a 10:30 class. And then on Tuesdays, Thursdays, I actually have a break then until 2:30. And then I have a 2:30 to 3:50 class because our Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes are 50 minutes long, and our Tuesday, Thursday classes are 80 minutes long. And then on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I either have a 3-hour seminar on Mondays, that's my 4th year advanced topic seminar. So that's one thing that was definitely kind of very 4th year specific. But then Wednesday, Friday, I have my labs that go from 1:30 to 3:50, and that's kind of my day. So it might sound like I'm in a lot, like when I say 5 courses that I have either 2 or 3 times a week and 3 labs, but it's very manageable and I'm able to kind of break up my day. So don't really have to do too much coursework into the evenings just because I have lots of free time throughout the day. That's not to say I always use my time wisely throughout the day. So I definitely have to do work in the evenings sometimes. But I would say that's kind of what a very typical sort of science first year would look like. I know specifically in the sciences, distribution courses, I tend to get done kind of in the upper years, just because in your first year, particularly your first semester, you're just trying to get all of the basic science courses that you need to then continue on. Things like intro psych, intro bio, intro chem, intro calc, intro physics, and that's 5 courses right there, right? So, but yeah, I don't know. Does someone want to kind of go over what a typical anything other than science day would look like?
Yeah, my schedule's really nice this semester. Well, it depends. It depends. If you're a morning girly, then maybe not. But Mondays and Wednesdays, I have a class from 4:30 to 5:50. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, my classes I have 3 classes and it goes from 10 to 2:20 like straight. So that's a little intense, but it makes up for it because I have every Friday with no classes. So that's really nice. I am in 5 courses, but one of them is online unscheduled. There are a couple courses here and there that are still online, which is kind of nice to throw one online one in there just because it gives you a little bit of extra time during the days. But yeah, that's like an arts kind of, there's no labs. Sometimes like for an econ course or like a first year poli-sci, there'll be a tutorial, which can be really helpful. But even those will be like once a week or once every 2 weeks. So yeah, it's not as rigorous as the science, but a first year arts degree will be something like that, like 2 classes one day, 3 the other, or a mix of that.
Okay, I just have a question in the chat. So this question, in terms of co-op opportunities, what does Mount Allison have to offer in science and science education / employment experience? And that says, are there any recommendations? So I'll just kind of say off the bat, Mount Allison does not have a specific co-op program, but the experiential learning development or experiential learning is pretty much the same thing. It's just a very different name. So yeah, does anyone wanna? Okay, sure, I can take this one. So, I mean, I think like the biggest thing, so there's this is an example that I think we're all kind of, we all use in our campus tours, but there's a little cafe in the library, and it's called the flying bean. And I think it was in 2015 that there was a group of students that were in a class, and they, within their class, they got to apply for funding. And then they received the funding and they started this cafe in the library. And it was a huge deal because before then you weren't allowed to eat or drink in the library. So it was like everyone was like very excited about this. But these students were in 3rd and 4th year. So then they graduated, and everyone was so like upset that the Flying Bean was going to be leaving that the university bought it off them, and it's now a university run cafe. And there's another with there's Maritime Paddle, which is a like paddleboard and kayak kind of little company that just started this past summer up at Silver Lake. And that's the same thing. It was the same course. It was a group of a 3rd and a 4th year student, or 2 4th year students that started this like co-op or this little company because they received the funding, and now it's awesome and people love it during the summer. And then Astrid mentioned Bagtown, which was also started as a result of this this funding, as well as Sip Sackville, which was a bubble tea place that just unfortunately just closed, but that was open for a while. So again, there's no like, it's not called the co-op program, but that doesn't mean you're not going to have these opportunities here. And the experiential learning development office is on the 2nd floor of the student center. So I know a lot of the opportunities I just spoke about were kind of more commerce related, and this question was looking at science education, but you can go chat to the office or chat to people in the office. They will be more than happy to answer any questions you have and to let you know of all of the opportunities that you might have or that you can get involved in. And you can also look the experiential learning. There's kind of there's like a website where all of the internships and things that the university and that are offered for students are posted. And so just go take a look there and see what's there, see what you're interested in, and then you can apply through the website. I've applied for a couple jobs through there, and it's super easy, really easy to navigate. And yeah, because we're such a small school, a lot of these opportunities don't get applied for. So you should definitely apply for them because your chances are really good. So yeah. Any questions? No? Okay. Let's see. Okay, this is a good one. I'm from Victoria, which is not huge, but definitely bigger than Sackville. And I was nervous that Sackville was going to be too small. So just questions. So like, what do you do for fun? And how close is it to sort of like more like major towns or bigger towns? And how do you get there?
So being in Sackville, I guess, from a, bigger town, Nairobi, Kenya, 5 million people versus, I think we're 5,000 people in Sackville. Pretty big contrast, but I feel like once you're in Sackville, there's no need to leave. It's perfect. So, so I guess in the sense that like, there's so many like student societies, like over the weekends, there's the chess club, there's MTA UN, there's various things that are around to do over the weekend that you can't really be bored, in the sense that there's a chance to go run in Waterfowl Park. There's a chance to, just get a chance to, do residence activities. And I feel like in the sense of like, yeah, Amherst is 10-15 minutes away drive, and then Moncton Dieppe is another 30-minute drive as well. I guess to your more cliche bigger towns. But I feel like being around the Vogue Cinema is also around, and just a bunch of various things that you can get involved with. Ada's Cafe. So Sackville has everything that you ever do need in a big town. So yeah, I feel like also accessible to students.
Yeah. I come from a small town, so I wasn't super concerned about it, but it is even smaller than the town I come from. Like I do have a Walmart in Bathurst, so but anything you do need is here. There, like you were saying, there is no reason you would have to leave, and it definitely is hard to get bored. There's so many clubs and societies, a lot of places to go around town, study, restaurants to go to with your friends, cinema. There's a decent nightlife. There's always activities at the pond too, which is the campus pub bar situation. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities to get up to some fun things.
Yeah, so I am from a city. I'm from Edmonton, which is a city of about 1 million people. And for a long time, I was planning to go to university in a big city. And that was, kind of what I wanted. And so it was a little bit of an adjustment to come to Sackville. But I want to say, first of all, because when you come to Sackville, whether or not you live in residence or off campus, you are through orientation, you're kind of immediately brought into this community where there's things to do and there's people to do it with. And so that transition wasn't really like, it wasn't like I had like moved to a small town in the middle of nowhere by myself and there was nobody else around and I never had anything to do. Like that was not the reality at all. Also, the things that I thought I would miss about being in a big city, like we have a really wonderful folk music festival in Edmonton. That's a lot of fun. We have like restaurants. There's different like cultural events that come up and, make it so that there's something exciting to do and exciting things to experience and to learn. But Sackville is kind of a cultural hub for, southeastern New Brunswick. And I mean, it's this kind of the center of the Maritimes. So we're like 40 minutes away from PEI. We're about 2 hours away from Halifax. We're about half an hour, 40 minutes from Moncton. So you can always get where you need to go. But also because we're the university, there's a lot of like cultural connections that we have. And so we have like Sappy Fest, which is a music festival that comes to Sackville, and they put on free shows throughout the year. And I just went to one and it was really, really fun. And so like there is a vibrant community in Sackville that isn't related to Mount Allison, but I think is in part because we have Mount A and because we have people who, are interested in making sure that there is stuff to do and culture. So it's not boring. And the university is always planning things to do. And especially if you're in residence in your first year, they take care of your social schedule. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, I agree with everything everybody said. Like residents, they have a lot of events going on throughout the semester. I know they plan some trips sometimes. Like I saw Windsor plan a ski trip early up in the semester. They have residence parties that each house organizes as well. There's clubs and societies have events almost every day. Every day something's going on campus. If you prefer hike events where you want to like go out and dance and have fun with your friends, or you prefer more low-key events, they do things like paint nights and paint nights, and I think they have a sewing. I saw some kind of sewing thing happening too. And if you wanted to get off campus, they have like the farmers market. I push the farmers market because they have like good produce there. So if you wanted to cook and stuff, they have that down there as well. Or if you wanted to like go to Ducky's, they had a chess night. I heard one of the earlier panelists said, and it brought out. I think it was the most successful Wednesday night Ducky's had in a while. So that's there. Or if you wanna, escape Sackville just for a little bit, you can go down to Moncton. It's about, as they said, 30 minutes, or Amherst. You can take the bus, the maritime bus. You can go on a drive with your friends, maybe go to Shediac or something, get some nice lobster. Yeah, or PEI. But honestly, Sackville, for such a small town, there's always something to do, whether it's here in the university or the town itself. As Astra said, they have Sappy Fest. There's the fall festival they usually have. I think they have winter carnival as well. So a lot of opportunities to have fun if you don't want to be studying at this specific time.
Awesome. All right. We're just about to wrap up. Are there any last questions? People on Teams or in person? Anything else you wanted to? Yeah. Oh, okay. So the question was favorite club or favorite sport? Very biased, but football.
Personally, I like soccer. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to go last.
I think I have to say cross country.
I would have to go with MTA UN, so that's like Model United Nations, like do debates and like cool stuff. Biasness goes to chess, so there was a chess night in Ducky's. So yeah, MTA chess. Yeah.
Okay, I thought I would have a better answer right now. I'm honestly like trying to like rack my brain and like decide which one is my favorite. I will say Mount Allison Ultimate Frisbee is a very vibrant club on campus. They go to a bunch of different tournaments. I've been recruited incessantly throughout my time here. So that's a big one. And in terms of other clubs, the Fine Arts Society puts on really interesting and exciting events in collaboration with like the Owens Art Gallery. So like crafting type events, but they like give you everything you need for it and paint nights. And yeah, that's really cool too.
Okay, perfect. So if you have any other questions you wanted to kind of ask more like one-on-one or any kind of specific like questions personal to like you, we are going to be, a couple of us are going to be at Tweedy Hall. We're heading over there in 10 minutes for a little like mixer. So we'll all be floating around to answer any questions you might have. If there's anywhere on campus that you want to see you haven't seen yet, we can kind of take you there and show you around. But yeah, thank you all for coming.